Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Welcome, dear students. I hope your studies are doing well, or you are doing well with your studies, and you have followed up with the homework and the writing that we had in our last lesson. So the unit that we are still in is Unit 3. We have here, what will they think of next? So what will they think of next is about future changes. Now, the future changes that we talked about, of course, in the discussion was the predictions that the past made about the future, and then we moved on with different topics. Now, in the writing that we had, the last writing lesson, it was about the Vision 2030. Now, the Saudi Vision 2030, mainly, it was about choosing a development and writing about it. Now, the development that we have here is to just collect or to think about different ideas. We explained how to, just for example, one idea is green nature, and then we have the notes. So just to make notes before you start, and you are going to plan your writing and plan what you are going to say in each paragraph. So if you can just recall with me, we had the division of the paragraph using the notes that you have prepared before. And then after that, we have the writing, which is, of course, there are different tips that we have here. Of course, I advise you to write before you type until you get your complete paragraph. After, of course, a lot of corrections, and to just rewrite until you get it perfect. So we have here, this was what we took in our last lesson. Now just imagine with me that you have just finished your writing essay here, and you just want to follow up, or you want someone to check your writing with you. Now you are going to send your writing, your essay here to someone else. And in the conversation, just imagine what type of conversation that is going to happen between you and a classmate or anyone who is going to help you with the essay. So we are going to just imagine the conversation that we have here. We can say that there are different questions that may be applied within the conversation about the topic or the essay. Now, for example, we have the question, do you have time to read my essay? Now you're going to ask this question, where do you want me to send it? Do you want it in an application or an email? Do you like my essay? What do you think? How can you improve it? This can be a question that someone asks you about the essay. And also, there can be, when do you need it? We have here also, why did you choose the topic? And another question, who is the essay for? So you can see that I have prepared complete questions here, a complete conversation that we have about the essay. Now, you get the idea that I'm going to focus on questions. You can see that we have here different questions, and we are going to talk about these questions in our lesson. Okay, so we have here, we're going to start with the lesson. We have here, now, as answers for my questions, I have the sentence, I wrote my essay concerning nature. And we have here another statement, I asked my friend to read my essay. And also we have here, she thought it was a good topic. Now these are different replies that can be also included in the conversation. Moreover, we can say that we have here, nature refreshes the environment, basically about the topic. Working hard transforms visions to reality. And we have here, teams work hard to accomplish the best. Now you can see that I have divided the statements here or the sentences into two colors. So if you focus and you look at the verbs, where are the verbs in each sentence, you are going to notice that the first group or the first color are in one tense, and the other color or the second group is going to be in another tense. So we're going to just discover what we have here in our lesson. Now you can see from the first one, we have the same three sentences. You can see that they are all in. Have you checked the sentences? We have, yes, they are all in the past. And let's just read them. We have here, I wrote my essay concerning nature. I asked my friend to read my essay, and she thought it was a good topic, just to check And now just to revise and see that the verbs, the three verbs that we have here, wrote, asked, and thought, are yes, they are in the past. Now, if we move on, you can see the second group here, which is in the present. So if you have guessed that they are in the present, yes, that's correct. You can see that we have here, nature refreshes the environment, working hard transforms visions to reality, and we have teams work hard to accomplish the best. You can see that we have here the verb refreshes. We have the verb working, or working actually is here a noun. It's a gerund, so it looks like a verb, but if we search more, we can discover that the actual verb here is transforms. And we have here the third sentence, we have here work. Now we have work, transforms, and refreshes are verbs in the present tense. Moving on with the lesson we have here, we are going to, of course, to start our form, meaning, and function lesson, which is in year 3, of course. Now we are going to focus on the sentences. So we have reached the form, meaning, and function in our unit. And as you can see that we have here our objectives. So let's read them together. We have here, number 1, to deduct the tense forms in sentences. We have number 2, to form yes, no, and WH questions in the present simple and the past simple tense. We have number 3, to differentiate between irregular verbs. And we have number 4, to recall words connected to space. So also you can see that we do have some interesting points that we're going to go through in the lesson. So as we mentioned, that we are going to focus on the present and also the past in our lesson today. Now, if you remember, we explained before the present simple. So just to recall that we talked about the present simple and how we have the helping verbs does and do in negatives and also in questions. Now, this is something important to recall in our lesson today. Of course, we have the division between the singular and the plural. And we have here also to focus that the present simple is something that happens ordinarily, or we can say as a routine. It happens all the time. So these are just points to revise, and we're going to connect and see what is new in our lesson today. So we have the 3 sentences that we have read together. We're going to focus on them one by one, but this time we are going to turn them into questions and answers. So what's new here? Now I'm going to take one sentence at a time. We have here the first sentence, nature refreshes the environment. So I want to change this sentence into a yes-no question. So like when I say, are you studying English? Do you speak English? Now these are questions that are yes-no questions. So I'm going to do the same thing. It's something simple. So first of all, we are going to focus on something. You can see that I mentioned the verbs before. So based on the verb refreshes, singular, I am going to choose the helping verb at the very beginning of our question, which is does. So based on the singular and the es that we have here at the end of the verb, we have here does. Of course, we're going to just change a little bit in our sentence. So we have here the n turns into small because it's not at the beginning anymore. And we are going to just take out the es, and we are going to add our question mark. Something very easy and simple to follow. Now, if it is a yes-no question here, you can answer both ways. If the answer is yes, you can say yes, it does. And if you have another point of view, you can say no, it doesn't. Now, this is the first example. Moving on to the second one, we have here working hard transforms visions to reality. And again, I remind you not to mix up between the gerund and the main verb in the sentence. So where is the main verb? We have here transforms. We're going to do the same thing. You can see that there is the s at the end of the verb. So we have here the yes, does, the auxiliary verb at the beginning. We just turn it into a small letter instead of a capital. We take out our s and add the question mark. So something easy, something very simple to follow. And also we can answer in the same way. Either yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. Moving on, we have the third one. Now, this one is going to be different. We are talking about teams, plural. And that's why our verb work, there is no addings in it. Okay, so it's just the base form here. So we have here teams work hard. So since we are talking about plural here, we are going to add do instead of does. And you can see that I have the same steps to follow, but this time there's nothing to delete or omit from the sentence. So we're just going to put the question mark. And here our answers can be yes, they do. If you have another point of view, no, they don't. So we have here the simple steps to make yes, no questions. We're going to see what we have new also in our lesson today. We have here. Now you can see in the book they mentioned two questions we have here. Do they use the internet, and does she have a laptop? So we have here, as you can see, that we have in the book, they have the same examples and they have the same way to answer. You can just apply from the examples that I mentioned here and also the examples that we have in the book. Now we're going to change into something else. We talked about yes, no questions. Now you can see from the picture here that we have here different words and they are all the same group together. Now we have the family of WH questions here. We are going to talk about them more. Now, when do we use WH questions? Or actually, I have another word. We have another question. We have here, what are question words? Now, what are the question words? We just saw the examples here or in the picture. You have these examples in the book. We have here, what's your last name? We have here, how's it going? We have, when's the festival? We have also, where's your friend from? Who's that tall man and why is he here? Now there are different question words based on what are you asking about. Are you asking about a person? Are you asking about a reason? Are you asking about a place or a thing? Or if you're asking, how is something happening? So it depends on what you are asking for to choose the correct question word. And you can see the answers also mentioned here. They, of course, are all based on what is the question. Now, moving on, I have a simple task for you here. We have the picture of this young girl here. Now, you are asked to make 3 WH questions about the picture. So as simple as that, you have here the picture. Just note quickly with me here 3 WH questions, okay, or question words. You are going to ask information questions here. You're not asking yes, no questions. No, I want you to think about information. What type of information can you ask about from this picture? So just note them here. I'm going to give you just 1 minute to think about it. Now you can ask about anything in the picture here. You can ask about the girl. You can ask about the place. You can even ask if you can see that there is a little bit shining of the sun in the picture here. So it depends on you. What do you want to ask about in the picture? Now, I can give you different examples. We can say, for example, where is the girl sitting? What is her name? What is she thinking about? Who is she waiting for? Who is she? Why is she alone? Which seat is she in? What time is it? When is she going home? Where does she live? Where does the sun set and when does the sun set? Now just imagine that I have all of these questions. They are information questions and they are all from one picture. You can ask different types of questions depending on the information. So we have here, if you notice also that these questions, they are in the present simple. Now, just go back a little bit with me. You can see that I started the lesson talking about the present simple. And now we have turned the present simple into yes-no questions and also into information questions using question words. Now, you do have a task in your book, page number 44. Interview a classmate. Ask for this personal information. You can ask about anything. You can ask about the name, spelling of first and last names. We have here the age, date of birth, nationality, address, telephone number, email address, and occupation. So you can see that there are different things to ask about, and you can just change the question words depending on what you're going to ask about. So this is a task or an activity that you can do together in class. Now, you can see this picture here. I have a picture of two hands. They are holding each other. And not just holding, you can see that there is some kind of idea that I want from this picture. Now, one person, what is he trying to do to the other person? Okay, so we're going to see here, we have the question, what does this picture mean? Now, you can see that someone is trying to help someone else. So think about helping here. Why? Because we are going to talk about helping verbs. Now, helping verbs are like does in the sentence. So if you just focus on the question that I have here, what does this picture mean? I have two verbs here. I have the basic verb, which is going to be mean in the sentence or the question, and we have here the helping verb does. Now, we have applied the questions before and we used does and do, but now we are going to focus on this part here, which is going to be the auxiliary verb or the helping verb. So we have many helping verbs here. We are going to just think about them and we are going to focus on the auxiliary verb this time in our same examples. Now, going back to the questions that we have here, you can see that first of all, we have here do. We have also can, we have also did in the past, and we have here also is. So there are different helping verbs. It's not just about using do or does. No, the helping verbs generally and mainly can be used in questions as helping verbs. Now, you can see that we have here in the square here, we have be. What do I mean by be? Now, when you think about be, three words come into mind, which are three helping verbs. They are going to be is, are, and am. We know that is used for the singular, are is used for with plural, and we have here am is of course with the capital I. So we have here, or the pronoun I. We are going to just look at these sentences. Since I am talking about the present simple, now still just put in mind that I'm still working on the present simple. Now we have here, I be at school. I want to change the be here into one of the three helping verbs. Now, basically, the helping verbs is, are, and am, they are the family, which is called verb be. I want to change it here and say that I am at school. So if you have answered, you've done it right. How about the second one? I be interested in stars. Also, we can say that I am interested, or sorry, there is a question before. So we have here, where are you? Let's just do the other one and say that we have here, I am interested in stars. So since the example, the first one appeared for you, which is, where are you? Of course, based on the statement or the sentence that we have here, we have the second sentence, I am interested in stars. How about this one? How can you form a question about it? Now we are going to just see here that we're talking about stars. So we can ask the question, what are you interested in? Now you can see that, of course, the helping verb in the question changed based on the pronoun. The sun be a star. So now I'm talking about the sun. We have here the sun is, yes, the sun is a star. And we can ask the question, what is the sun? Now we have these examples. They are also mentioned in the book. We can complete. Now this time we have here plural, galaxies. Galaxies, we can say, are large groups of stars. And we have here, we be not able to see other galaxies. Of course, we are not able to see galaxies. And you can see that the questions are also based on the affirmative sentence. Now, these are different examples that we have here. You can notice that, of course, we are using the helping verbs, verb to be, in all the examples that we just passed by. Now, moving on, we have the second part, which is the past simple. We talked a lot about the present. Now, instead of the present simple, we are going to make questions also, but this time in the past simple. So just to revise, what do we have here? We have here making questions in the simple past. Of course, we are going to focus on these examples. First of all, I have just mentioned using verb to be. Now you can see that we have the same thing here, using verb to be, but this time in the past tense. Now we have the examples. Where were you born? I was born in Oman. Where was he born? He was born in Kuwait. So instead of using the regular is and are, I'm just going to turn them into the past. Also, something very important to recall. We have here simple past questions with regular and irregular verbs. What does this mean? Now, if I'm going to ask information questions here, or even yes/no questions, so if I do not have verb to be in my sentences, I'm going to have to use another verb. So what do we have? Now, basically, we use did in our questions if they are in the past. So if they are question or information questions or yes/no questions, both of them, we use did as a helping verb. So we are going to see the examples that we have here. You can see that I have the two verbs. We have here lived, which is a regular verb, and we have here wore, which is an irregular verb. So if I'm going to change these sentences to questions, we are going to, of course, focus on the past tense here. Now, since we have here the past verb, we're going to use did. So the question is going to be, where did you live? And you can see that I changed the past verb into present. So instead of lived, we have here live. And the same thing here, we have here he wore former clothing. We have an irregular verb here, which will be changed into did, also using what did he wear. You can see that we just turned the verb or changed it into the present. Why? Because we have did as a helping verb. Moving on, we have here, you can see that there are different types of irregular verbs here. Now, some of these verbs, they change into two forms or maybe even three forms. Now, in the book, they have mentioned some examples here. Now, you can see that we have here the irregular past forms of these verbs. We have, for example, buy, the past is bought. We have here ride, the past is rode. We have meet, met. We have swim and swam, and so on. You can just read them in your book and you can see that there are different verbs. Of course, they are not just the verbs that are mentioned. We have much more. Now I'm going to just change the sentence. We have here the sun was formed by clouds of dust and gas. We can say here from was, the question is going to be, how was the sun formed? Just an example. Astronauts research the Earth and other planets in space. We can ask the question based on research. We have here, of course, there's no helping verb. So we have here, we're going to ask, what do astronauts research in space? Now you can see from the helping verb, I mean here that there is was, and the second part, there is no helping verb. So based on the affirmative, we have do. Moving on, we have here also other examples. You can see that we have here discovered and needs. So we change using where did they discover volcanoes and mountains, and we have here the question, why does an astronaut need to be careful? So we have applied here our questions based on what we have explained before using the helping verb did, does, or do. Now, since you can see that we have mentioned something about the stars and the sun and the moon here, we have something else interesting here, like these questions that we have here. They discovered volcanoes and mountains. If we just want to change them, or like here, an astronaut needs to be careful because the atmosphere is poisonous, we have words that are connected with space and the planetary system. So let's see what we have here. We can see that we have here, for example, the words solar system. They are words that are, of course, connected with space here. Now, there are other words. We can say, for example, we have the moon. We have also the sun. We have planets. We have also Earth, of course, and we have stars. Moreover, we can also mention meteors. We can mention also something that is connected to space, of course, the astronaut. We can see that we have here robot car, spacecraft, eclipse, and orbit. Do you remember the word orbit? We have also more words. We can say that we have here like atmosphere. We have also land, volcanoes, high mountains, rocks, gravity, poisonous air, and we have here gas also. All of these words are connected. We can also add from technology. Of course, there are words that are connected to space concerning technology, like take photos, build, space station, and so on. You can just read the examples that we have here in the book that are related to words connected to space. And we have here the exercise, page number 44, which I'm going to leave for you to do as homework. At the very end, we have here the outline of the day. We used the present simple in questions and sentences. We used also the past simple in questions and sentences. We used words connected to the space in sentences, or we can see that they are actually the words that we're going to use in our next part, which is homework. You are going to just practice, use these words, read them at home, and we'll get to them, inshallah, in our next lesson.